Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault, and once again I'm coming to you with another range report. And on the table tonight we have a classic Colt pistol from the 1930s. This is the Colt Woodsman. This is from the first series, which was manufactured between 1915 and 1941. And they made three variations of this gun: the Target, the Sport, and the Match Target. And this one has the 6-inch barrel, which makes it the Target model. Now, because this is a Target pistol, I should say that I am going to try to review this from that perspective. Normally when I review guns, I review tactical guns, and some of my tests are from that perspective. But because this is a Target pistol, I'm not going to try to do quick magazine changes or the like with it. I just want to shoot it. I want to see how accurate it is and how well it runs. So before we get into the range report and all the things that I like and don't like, and of course get this to the range, I always want to thank the people that make these videos possible. First and foremost is the owner of this really cool antique pistol. His name is Jack, and he's lent many guns to the channel, so thank you, Jack, once again. I always want to thank my Patreon supporters, because through their monthly donations and support they help keep the lights on around here, and I couldn't do it without them. And if you guys want to join my Patreon, you can do it for as little as $1 a month and get to see all of these videos early, and there will be a link in the description below. And as always, I want to thank my primary sponsor, who always provides the ammunition for these range reports and thus makes them financially feasible for me, my good friend Mark from Brownworks. And if you're here to watch a review on a classic Colt pistol like this Woodsman, a gun made of carbon steel that takes wood panel grips, you probably love vintage Colt pistols, and you probably own a Colt 1911, and you've probably been asking yourself, where in the world can I get the best set of grips for this gun? Something that's going to make them special, unique, and one of a kind. Well, the company you're looking for is Brownworks. Brownworks is a custom grip company making a wide variety of grips for a wide variety of firearms out of a wide variety of exotic woods and materials. Mark is an artist and he is a craftsman. He's always coming up with new and innovative features to add to his grips. He can apply custom logos, custom engravings, and custom textures. He can finish his grips in a wide variety of colors. He can create his own laminate woods and even apply exotic materials like snakeskin and alligator skin to make these grips unique and one of a kind. So I'm going to ask you all to go check out his website. I'm going to put it in a comment in this video, as well as a coupon code for 10% off your first order. So please go over to his website, see everything he has to offer, and if you don't find what you're looking for, please make sure to contact Mark. I know he can hook you up, and when you do, please tell him the Texas Gun Vault sent you. So let's talk about the really cool classic Colt pistol we have on the table today. This is the Colt Woodsman, and this comes from the first series, manufactured between 1915 and 1941. This is also the Target model, which has a 6-inch barrel. They had a Sport model, which had a shorter barrel, and the Match Target, which also had a 6-inch barrel, but it was heavy walled, and they had special grips. This particular example was manufactured in 1931. The name Woodsman did not appear on these pistols until 1927. The design of this gun was based off of a prototype by John Moses Browning, but was finished by Colt engineers after he left the factory. And a really interesting fact about this is that they manufactured 4,000 of these guns after they officially discontinued them to send them to the Army during World War II for training purposes. And those have come on the civilian market in the surplus world, and all of those will have U.S. property marks on them, and they are very sought after by collectors. Now, there is a rumor that these guns shoot better than many of the 22 target pistols manufactured today, even the Ruger Mark series. So we're going to put that to the test. But before we get this to the range, as always, I want to talk about the things that I like and don't like about these guns. And I always want to start with the positive first. So the first thing I love about this gun, of course, is that it is a Colt. Colts have always had a special place in my heart. The Colt company just goes hand in hand with the history of America. And so I love reviewing anything by this company, especially the older stuff. And so to get a first series Woodsman here at the Texas Gun Vault is a real treat. I love the fact too this gun is made of steel and wood. And I know in today's world, aluminum and polymer is the way to go. But there's just something about holding a gun like this. Even though it has a very small profile, it's very thin, it still feels like a gun. It has heft to it, and you feel the quality. I absolutely love that. Now for the 1930s, this gun also has a pretty nice set of sights, and they are adjustable, way better than the sights that came on mil-spec 1911s of the era. They're not as good as the modern sights, but these are definitely top of the line for the 1930s. This gun also has an open slide, which I think will aid in reliability. So as you can see, when the slide comes back, you don't have an ejection port. You just have this large ejection area. That's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of the concept that Beretta has in many of their pistols. The last thing about this gun that I really like handling it here on the workbench is the trigger, but it's a little bit different than many other triggers I have shot in the past. So I want to adjust the camera, I want to give you some close-ups of this, and of course I want to check this on the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge. So let me go ahead and adjust the camera and let's see what this trigger is all about. So let's talk about the trigger in this classic Colt Woodsman pistol. The first thing I want to do, of course, is safety check the gun. We'll drop the magazine with this heel release, ensure there is no ammunition in it, and of course visually inspect the chamber, and it looks like we are clear. Now of course this is a .22 long rifle pistol. It is rimfire, and you have to be careful when you dry fire one of these because you don't want to damage the firing pin, which could potentially hit the side of the chamber. So many people online and many resources online say these are safe to dry fire. However, I don't want to risk anything. So I'm going to use these little plastic wall hangers, which are about the same size as a .22 long rifle, and this will allow me to safely dry fire this gun. So let me go ahead and open the chamber. Let me insert one of these, because these don't always feed from the magazines very well. Let me close that slide, and let me show you the initial take up here. It's very short, and the trigger breaks very clean and crisp, maybe a little bit on the heavy side. Now, let me lock the slide open, keeping my finger back. Let me load that back into the chamber, and now I'm going to show you the reset. And that's it. It's kind of short, but there is no tactile feeling to it, and there is no audible reset. But it is very short, and that is how this trigger is very different. You can't ride the reset with it. It virtually has no reset, but it is very short when you let the trigger go. It actually feels kind of good. Normally, I don't like triggers like that. And then, of course, you have that short take up again with that nice clean break. So let me go ahead and clear this pistol here, and then let's turn on the Lyman trigger pull weight gauge. Let's clear the averages, and let's get some data on this pistol. Let's load in one of these, and let's see how heavy this trigger is. 3 pounds, 5.5 ounces. £3, 5.1 ounces. £3, 4.8 ounces. £3, 4.8 ounces. And finally, we have 3 pounds, 3.4 ounces, which gives us an average of 3 pounds, 4.7 ounces. So you're not looking at a sub 3 pound trigger here, but it's still pretty light and very good for a target pistol. But I think a little bit on the heavier side. But what this trigger is so unique with is this reset. I have never shot a trigger with no reset whatsoever. It's quite different. So I don't know how that's going to translate to shooting it at the range. But now I've talked about a lot of things about this gun I like, so let's talk about a few things that I don't like. And as you can see, the trigger in this pistol, especially for a gun that is 93 years old, is pretty darn good. I am very, very impressed with it. And that just goes to show you the Colt quality back in this era. Now, I did mention there were a few things about this gun that I didn't like, and I want to discuss those now. The first thing about this gun that I don't like is the grip angle. Now, this grip angle is very similar to a Ruger Mark Series pistol, but this gun, of course, predates that. And those Ruger Mark Series pistols were based off of the Nambu pistols, which I think this gun also predates. I really think this grip angle is dictated by the magazine because of the shape of the 22 long rifle cartridge being a rimmed cartridge. So I really feel like this is just a little bit too slanted. We also have a heel magazine release. I would definitely prefer it to be up here on the side, but because this is not a tactical firearm, that is not necessary. And then the last thing about this gun I don't like is going to be the takedown. Now, I have not taken this gun apart since I got it back from the range, but I've read about it, and that is probably the Achilles heel of this gun. This is not a gun you can just quickly field strip for cleaning and maintenance. No, no, no. You have to take the grips off, you have to push pins out, you have to push plungers down, you have to take the mainspring housing out, and then you can get the slide off. But I'm going to do a video on that and try to figure it all out to help people in the future if you happen to own one of these. But it is definitely a long process. I personally feel like any gun that you buy should be easily disassembled for cleaning and maintenance, and you definitely don't have it with this gun. But that's the things that I don't like about this. So now let's get this thing to the range, and let's see if this thing shoots better than the Ruger pistols, like everyone says it does. So as always, we're going to start off at 7 yards. I just want to make sure, number one, that this gun functions. I want to see how accurate it is, and I want to make sure it's going to run with a wide variety of ammo. So I'm going to load up 2 of these magazines and just see how it works, how accurate it is, and how well it shoots. And then we'll test it out at further distances. So let's go to the range. And let me tell you, for me, that is pretty darn amazing and awesome. I am very impressed by the accuracy of this pistol. I'm also impressed by the function of this pistol. I don't know when the last time this gun was shot. I don't even think the owner of this pistol has shot it himself. But this thing is running like a top, and it is super accurate. And the fact that the gun is kind of hefty because it is made of steel, it has virtually no recoil. I'm also really happy to tell you that the no reset of this trigger is not a problem at all. I like to ride the reset, but it has a very short, I guess we'll say reset, but that you can't feel and you can't hear, but you're right back at the wall. This is a fantastic target trigger. I could not be happier with it. So far, I'm impressed. All right, so let's double the distance on this target and let's put 2 more magazines through it and let's see if I can keep this accuracy up. And the gun now seems to be shooting just a little bit higher at about 15 yards, so I will have to adjust the sights just a little bit, but that group is excellent. I am noticing that many of the cases are ejecting to about the 1 o'clock position or sometimes directly forward of the gun. So I'm not 100% sure what that's about, but all the casings are clearing the gun and we're having absolutely no malfunctions whatsoever. So the next test we're going to do is at 20 yards. I'm still going to be standing, and right now I'm really impressed with this gun's accuracy. So let me adjust the sights and let's try this gun out at 20 yards. And this is definitely one of those guns that makes me look like a way better shot than I actually am. I am very impressed with this thing. It is such an easy gun to shoot. And I even have to say, this grip angle is kind of growing on me. It does feel good in my hands after shooting it for a while. So maybe it's a little bit more thought out than I originally believed. But that's one thing about John Browning designs. They always feel so good in your hand. And I'm not sure if this grip angle is his original prototyped angle. Not 100% sure, but it definitely feels great in my hands. And honestly, as I said earlier, I didn't think I was going to like that. All right, so the next test I want to do, I want to take as much of the human element out of the equation as possible. I'm going to set the target out at 25 yards, and I'm going to shoot this from the bench or from a barrier and see what the best group I can get with it is. So here we go. Let's go back to the range and shoot it from a barrier. And I can only say that I am extremely impressed. And I can't even see where those rounds are hitting the target at my range. And I'm just an average gun guy. I'm not a competitive shooter. I don't do target shooting. So this gun is just out shooting all of the expectations that I had for it. And I am so impressed. It is just like an extension of my hand and my arm. This thing is awesome and probably hands down the most accurate .22 target pistol I have ever shot. Now, when this gun was really popular and being manufactured, the type of shooting most people would do would be one-handed. Now, this is something that I don't really practice all that much, but I do want to try to shoot it with this philosophy. So I'm going to set the target now at just 10 yards, and I'm going to try to shoot this one-handed and see how well I do. I might not do it great, but as I said, back in the day, this is how you were taught to shoot a pistol. And obviously the group opened up a little bit and I was shooting it a little bit to the left. But as I said, I'm not a competitive shooter. I don't shoot this way very often, so shooting one-handed is a little bit awkward for me, but the gun is still performing great. And I have not had one single hiccup with this gun. And I was running standard velocity CCI mini mags, and Federal bulk ammo throughout this range report. So it seems to be reliable with whatever I put through it. I am just blown away by this 93-year-old pistol. So what are my final thoughts on the Colt Woodsman First Series Target Variation? Well, for such an old firearm, this thing is awesome. It runs perfect. It is exceptionally accurate, very ergonomic. The only thing I think I don't like is just the heel release. But as I said, you're not going to buy this gun or own this gun as a defensive pistol or a tactical pistol. So that really doesn't matter whatsoever. And I really have no complaints with this gun. This has just been one of the most pleasurable range experiences I've ever had reviewing a gun. So I think you guys already know on my star system what I'm going to give this pistol. Obviously, 5 out of 5 stars. If I had a rating higher than that, that is what I would give this, because this thing exceeded my expectations so much, I can't believe it. It is so accurate. It is so reliable. It is just an awesome pistol. And I'm kind of curious how the second series and the third series compare to this one. Were they as good? But everyone says the first series is the best, and I can see why. And I sure wish there was a company out there that could copy this design, because this, hands down, is the nicest .22 target pistol I have ever shot. So 5 out of 5 stars, beyond perfect. It is amazing. And so Colt really had a winner with this gun. So this has been a very pleasurable experience reviewing this. So let me know what you think. Have you guys ever shot a Colt Woodsman and you own one, and do your experiences mirror mine? Because I would love to know, is yours as accurate as this one? So please tell me in the comment section below. So, as always, thanks for watching.